doctor this summer.
You want me to Photoshop it when it's all done?
First of all, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the Delaware SeaSide Railroad Club. Obviously, it's one of my favorite things to do now. But and thank you, Audrey, for thinking of Dad. And I was saying earlier, I'm not Mark Fisher, I'm Audrey's dad. So somewhere along the line, I lost that identity. But it's a real pleasure to be here. And let me give you some background. I spent 41.5 years in education. Some people think that was crazy. I was actually shooting for 50, but I wore myself out. So, and I retired a couple of years ago, and I had always been a kid who loved model railroading. And so right there on Dagsboro by the Uncle Royal Farms, not Uncle Willie's, Royal Farms. I would drive by every day and I'd see the sign that said, you know, Railroad Club. And I said, So the last day that I worked happened to be a Wednesday, and that was the night they have their open house where you can come in, and I walked in and looked around, and I met a gentleman, and we started talking, and I said, well, I'll be back. And Saturday I showed up, paid my dues, and that was it. It's been history since. And it's a great organization, and yes, I'm prejudiced, but it's a great organization for several reasons. One of the things that captivated me was when I met some of the members. One member shared with me that we're a lot of fun. We don't go out and drink and hang out and do that kind of stuff. You know, that's great because I don't want to go out and drink and do that kind of stuff either. So it became a great learning experience for me. And how it became a great learning experience, because when I pull out my trains that I've saved over the years, some are older than Audrey, all I really knew was to plug it in, put the 2 wires on the track, and turn it. I'm learning now how to use rheostats and how to get DC to convert over to DCC, and on and on and on. And it's been a real thrill because I enjoy that part of it too. I guess that's the teacher in me over the years, but it's a great organization in that regard, where I'm learning and made some wonderful friends. The mission of the Delaware SeaSide Railroad Club basically comes down to preserving and promoting history and the hobby of model railroading. When I look at our club membership, we're awful old guys, you know, old guys playing with toys. And that is kind of transcending over when you look at I went to a couple train shows, and you could see how you're looking at a senior group. And it bothers me because what happens to us eventually is we're going to die off. So one of the things we focused on, and this is going in my 3rd year with the club, when I got there, was focusing on working with children, especially the middle school students. And because they're really kind of like, besides the fact they're crazy, and I taught middle school for 14 years, it's also the prime time to grab them. Interest-wise, they're like a sponge, and they're still a kid in many ways, so they're not too cool yet for model trains. And the beauty of model trains for these young children, and by the way, girls are also included. We usually have 2 or 3 girls involved in the group, which I'll explain to you in a minute, but I do want to make this point. The kids, yes, technology has been a double-edged sword, and the kids really enjoy, you know, playing with the remotes and, you know, that whatever the latest game is, I don't keep up with it anymore. But they, unfortunately, can't do anything other than what the controller will let them do. Well, we focus on model railroading with them that your imagination is unlimited. You can create whatever you want for your railroad. And my daughter will laugh because when they were growing up, they had a playroom, and in that playroom was a stage that they could dance and put on shows. And after I retired, got involved with railroading, that playroom became the train room. And the stage is still there, but there's a layout that's under construction. And so the point being is that anything these young people can imagine, you can create, whether it's running a train in one direction and let another train pass by on a siding, going in the opposite direction. The opportunity for them to learn and to create on their own is amazing compared to video games. And I share that a lot with the adults that bring in their children. The Train Club, we offer, in fact, on March 21st is the first of this spring's class. We offer an opportunity for children after school at 3 o'clock to come and spend an hour throughout. I believe we limit it to 3 days a week, but I might be wrong. It might be 4 days a week. The children come and work with the adult members, and we teach them about layout design, the concept of, this is a 4x8 piece of plywood or whatever, and we focus on them understanding the basic concepts. They get a thrill out of creating their own scenery, their own village or town or whatever their vision is. And it's a great time. See, part of the school project concept not only will foster by preserving and promoting the history and the hobby itself, but it also gives them a chance to work together, to be in a very collaborative and cooperative type of environment. And we think that's a great learning lesson in and of itself. We offer other things. We have 2 shows at Roxana Fire Hall. One's in May and one's in September. The May one, I believe, is the 5th. Great opportunity to see what's out there from a vendor standpoint. We have monthly meetings. The Tuesday night was our annual meeting. We just had that. We are currently sponsoring a fundraiser. That fundraiser, and that's what we do all the time. And being in a similar organization, you guys know how important it is to fundraise. And we are right now on March 27th offering the opportunity to, at $10 a ticket, to enjoy at the Clayton Theater the Murder on the Orient Express, the classic Agatha Christie. And this is the newer version that came out in November of 2017. And I had to take a sneak peek, and I had to rent it just to make sure I was not missing out on something. And it's very intriguing. More for adults. I don't think a 5 or 8-year-old would enjoy it, but if you like a good old-fashioned murder mystery, it's an excellent movie. And it's the 27th is a Tuesday. Doors open at 6, the movie starts at 7. And I just so happen to have tickets if anybody is thinking about it. But if not, you can always stop by the Train Club. We have tickets at the club, which is right there in Dagsboro, right next to the, what's it called? Royal Farms. What is it?
Rofo.
Rofo, yes. I wonder if that really is worth it. Okay, along with that, we have operating layouts. In fact, right now we're rebuilding the HO layout and refurbishing the the N gauge layout. So those are in projects. We always change something, so there's always something going on. But we have O, we have S, we have G. G's the big one.
Explain what that is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's different sizes.
Yeah,
lay
that's
people.
what it is. It's different sizes. For instance, HO is 1/87th, so the size of it's double track, and the size is more realistic, and the things are more available for to create the realism. The G is they call it G for garden, and that's the real big trains that you see
Going around a Christmas tree or something like that.
Yeah, they could be used for Christmas time and that kind of thing. O gauge is probably the more common of all the gauges. That's good old-fashioned line L and what you're used to, and that's a 3-rail track. The middle rail is the positive track. S gauge. S gauge really at one point stood for standard gauge, and that was the American Flyer type of train. And that's also a 2-track.
So as you go down the alphabet, do they get smaller?
Good question. I never thought of it that way. No, not really, because
Yeah,
G,
yeah.
G is the biggest. And
I was thinking as you go towards S, is S like really small? Because I've seen some like really.
Oh, that's Z scale. We do not have Z scale because I don't know anybody who has the patience to work with Z scale.
Well,
Z scale, the train could be as big as your
Yeah.
They're not.
index finger.
Well, and that bringing up
the
this
Z-scale.
point real quick, Dad, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's one of the things, because of different sizes, it also gives them the ability to keep moving and use their hands and stuff like that for the older crowd and for the younger crowd to really get into the patience and the
Sure.
ability to
That
be
is-
able to still use your hands.
That's a big
Yeah,
factor.
thank you, that's what I was trying to
Manual
get at.
dexterity.
Fine motor skills, yes, that's definitely a factor. I'd like to think all of the members are in great health and can do anything we want to do, but that's a good point. It's there's a lot of dexterity that has to be taking place. I think I still have scars on my head from crawling underneath the layouts and banging my head, and so it's crazy. Financially, we basically seek two things. We obviously always appreciate the financial donations of simple dollars and cents, but we also look for contributions. Somebody's husband passed away. What do I do with all these trains he's got up in the attic? They can donate it. We are a 501c nonprofit organization, so anything they donate is tax deductible, and we are happy to accept, those kind of donations. What ends up happening is those donations turn into the tools to work with the students. So we try, to keep it always flowing through the system, through our program, that we take the donations and then use them to rebuild or replace some of the other things. And then we also do sell. There was a Lego set that was 10, maybe 12 years old, and went on eBay and found out it was worth $200. It was a donation. We told the person what it was. They were fine with it, so yeah, and we sold it for, I don't think we got 200 for it, but we probably got close to that. And so we do sell on eBay also to generate funds when we have something that is obviously very valuable that we don't have a specific use for. We don't use Legos, but it was a Lego train set, believe it or not. Also, when these students come in and spend time with us and they build this layout, we turn around and we auction these layouts at our shows. The May show will auction off the layout that the students will work from March through and April to create. And that's also a way of generating some funds for our program. We also have a sponsor program where we invite businesses to, it's $100 a year, and we invite businesses to become sponsors, and in turn for their sponsorship, while they have access to the club, that's the obvious, but they also get advertisement through the club. We have our website that we advertise. They get listed in the club. We have a wall of sponsors, so people come in and see who these sponsors are. And we basically, anytime we have an event going on, we also make sure that the sponsors not only are aware, but we get their information out for the event also. Like I said, our current fundraiser is the movie that Murder on the Orient Express, and following that, March 21st, we'll start with the students working on their design, and May 5th, I believe, that's a Saturday, we will have our train show. It's called the Spring Fling Train and Toy Show at Roxana, and it's an all-day affair. It's really, it's an amazing opportunity for someone to see what it's all about.
They also send out a nice little newsletter as well.
Yeah.
If you're a sponsor.
So, I think I covered everything. I might have, we're always available for questions. Our hours of operation, we're open. We charge nothing for coming to the club, and people visit all the time. We probably average about 30 people within a week. Our hours are Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3, and we've discussed maybe extending those hours, maybe going a little later than 3 o'clock. And we also have Wednesday nights from 5 to 8. In fact, I'll put a plug in at 8 o'clock, all the members, we go out over to Porto's and eat dinner. And it's a lot of fun. We really have a good time. It's usually anywhere from 6 to 10 of us that get together for that. So, and you're always welcome. You can come to Porto's too. Audrey's been there a couple times. They get a kick out of Audrey. Yeah. But again, thank you for your time. Feel free to contact us. Again, when you're contacting us, it'd be a lot of fun to see you show up at the clubhouse. It's, like I said, it's right there on the highway, and right next to Royal Farms. I don't know why I'm beating up Royal Farms today, but I am. Feel free to come in if you've got grandkids or young kids that you think would enjoy, bring them right in.
Yeah.
We do have junior members, and what is a junior member? I've got a 6-year-old grandson who's a junior member, and but we also have teenage junior members who actually work with us with the layouts. So, and junior members don't have dues to pay; they're free. So if you have a nephew or somebody younger in your family that might have an interest, feel free to look at junior members, and they can show. Most of them hang out on Saturdays. Wednesday is a school night, so we don't get any on a Wednesday. But again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention, and look forward to seeing you if you can make it over there. Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks.